This is swipe right. It's a move that could be used as a card vanish or a card change. I've come up with this about 2 years ago and I've used it ever since. With a bit of practice, it literally looks like you're wiping a card from a distance. So get yourself a deck of cards and let's learn swipe right. Okay, so let's have a look at learning swipe right. Now, first of all, this is heavily influenced by the Cardini Change. The mechanics that are going on underneath are almost, well, they are exactly the same. But what's going on top is totally different, and it gives a totally different look and effect as well. This is more of a slow motion, more slowed down vanish rather than like a quick, like snappy vanish. Daniel Garcia's also got the ego change, which stems off from the Cardini Change. So I just want to credit both of those two. So let's have a look at how it actually works. We'll start off with the card vanish. Now, what's going on underneath with your left hand? You're holding in mechanics grip, and these two fingers, your ring finger and your little finger, they're going to be pulling this card like this. And notice my middle finger stays exactly where it is, and that's being used to hinge around. So from the side, it's being used to hinge around like this. And that's what's going on underneath. Now you notice this is flicking up. Well, this is going to be held down by your hand. So what's happening with this hand is you're coming over like this, and once you fully cover that card, that's when you start pulling. And I'll do an exposed view. So if I open my fingers, you come around like this, fully cover, and that's when you start pulling. Now notice how this is still almost touching the deck. It's not exactly touching the deck. It's about that far off, like this, and then it gets to a point where this edge of the card is right under this middle finger, and that's when you can start opening like this. Okay, so once more, you come around, cover the whole deck. Once you start covering that deck, you can still follow through with this hand as you're pulling this card, boom, like this. And once you get to around about this point here, you can start opening your fingers to show that it's actually gone. So boom, like this. Just from the side. Like this. So once you get to that point, now it's important that you practice this in front of a mirror, because timing is critical on this. Otherwise it's just going to look a mess. Like, I've spent hours and hours practicing this in front of a mirror to get it looking right. So when you're practicing this, it's like I said, it's all about timing. So it's just putting the practice in this. So once you get to this point here, and you've got it looking good, the cleanup's really simple. Once this card now is under this middle finger, you're going to use your index finger to pull this card back slightly as you lift up the back up with your thumb. Pull this card, like this. Pull this back, lift up with your thumb, and you're going to lift up and forward, and just slightly over, just basically covering this card. So once you're up here like this, covering that, what's happening here now is you're basically going to be putting this back on top like this, but at the same time twisting your hand around. Now this is quite knacky, but once you get the idea, it's simple once you get it. So essentially, even though you're pushing this card back on top, because you're twisting your arm around at the same time, it's leaving this card exactly where it is. It's not moving anywhere, like this. Okay, so you're like this comes around, and it's putting that card back on top of the deck, like this. And then if that card's gone now out of sight, you can show this card, and then you can put this card back on top and do whatever you like from that point. Obviously, you're gonna have a double there. You just flip the double over and whatever you like. and it's exactly the same for the colour change. You're just getting yourself a double, doing exactly the same move, and it changes. And it's literally like you're just wiping that card, and it's changing. And I think this is so deceiving, because once you get to this point, you can start opening your fingers, and it's like it's changed. There's nothing else to see. There's no card hidden anywhere. Even though there is, you've only got this tiny bit to hide. So yeah, it's exactly the same for the change. You like this, show, turn over, boom. You can also use this as like an appearing card as well. So second from the top, you'd have a card face up. So for instance, you could use this as like a in an ambitious card routine. You can use the Marlowe tilt, pop that bucket in somewhere in the middle. Obviously it's going second from the top, and then you can make that card jump straight back to the top. And the good thing about this as well, which I use this in my ambitious card routine, once you're here and you lift this up, you can turn this around, that card's now face down, and you're absolutely totally clean with that. That's why I use this in my ambitious card routine, because it's a really, really visual way to get the card to jump back to the top. So you've got it second from the bottom, second from the top, sorry, like this. They obviously think it's in the middle. Boom, straight back to the top, and you're clean. Yeah, so basically it's all down to practicing each move. So practicing this move here. If you know the Cardini Change, you're gonna pick this up easily. If you don't know the Cardini Change, I definitely recommend getting it, because it's a great change. So yeah, it's just practicing the move. So I'll just go over it once more quickly for you. You're pulling this down like this, and it's hinging around your middle finger. And on top, what's happening is you're keeping your fingers closed, so there's no windows. You're coming around. Once that card is fully covered, you're still carrying on, but as you get to this point here, where you can see this edge of the card, you can start opening your fingers, and that middle finger sort of stays connected to the cards. Both at the same time, you're like this, start opening, lift up, turn, pop that card back on the top, and then you can show. You can, when you're going to put this back on, make sure it's neck tied, unless you're doing the appearing card, where it's like this, and then you're clean. So that is Swipe Right. If anybody has any questions, feel free to get hold of me on social media. I'll put my link on the bottom, and I'll be happy to answer any questions for you.